I'm back in my account here, so the account we used so far in this course, and so far we only worked in my workspace. In this workspaces menu here, we can select or create different workspaces though. On top we have this personal workspace here, but with this create a workspace option at the bottom, we can now create such a collaboration workspace I just talked about. You're of course not limited to one single collaboration workspace. You could create one workspace for each individual project, for example, or for each individual group of people you work with. It totally depends on you. You can simply create such a workspace though by clicking onto this option. Now we'll give it a name. Let's maybe call it Course Collaboration here. Now we could add a description, which we can skip at this moment. And here in the advanced settings, if you scroll down here, you can, specify lots of different options, which are not that important for us at the moment. The important one though is this license mode option. Especially for the purpose of this course, this should be set to Pro because we are all using Pro here. Typically, that's what I assume, no premium users. But that's actually the only thing that we have to add right here, so we can simply save this now. And with this in place, we see that we are already in this course collaboration workspace, confirmed over here, right there, and also here in our workspace menu, so to say. If you again go to this workspaces menu though, you see that on top we still have our own workspace, but here we now have a list of the other collaboration workspaces, only one in our case. This workspace now, if we expand the content, is, no big surprise, empty. Therefore, we could now again add some data to this collaboration workspace. So I'll do this quickly now as we know the process already. So we'll go to Add Content, scroll down a bit. We now also have this new Data Flows option here, which we'll discover later in this course. We'll just focus onto the Create New Content section and connect this workspace here with our local file once again. So I'll again use the Pro PBIX file, open it. So this is done. This means in our project now we have our good old Pro report, and let's assume that we created this report on our own. And as this should be a collaboration project here, let's say that Max, the other person in our organization, should now create a dashboard for this report. To do this, we now go back to the actual workspace here by clicking onto this course collaboration item. And there you see a new option now, an option we didn't have before in our personal workspace. It's this access option over here. With this option, we can directly manage who has access to this specific workspace. The difference to the sharing option we saw before in our workspace was that we only shared the report, for example, but the underlying dataset, etc., wasn't part of the sharing process. So if the other person added a new visual, for example, to a report, this wasn't reflected in our project. So we just shared the project, but we didn't collaborate on it. Here, with this access option now, if we click here, we can define that Max, in our case, can directly interact with and collaborate on the same project in real time. To see how this works, let's first add his email address here, which is done by now. Here we can specify the access type. So we have admin, member, contributor, and viewer. I'll not dive into the difference between these here in a lot of detail. Attached to this lecture, you can find a link to a dedicated page where you can explore the different options in more detail if you want to. Generally, the member option here is the one we would go for. This allows Max to directly change and edit our existing data. Now we only have to press add here to add him as member here in our project. In this list, by the way, you can always change the permission levels. So if you're not happy with the member permission, you can click here and can change it to admin, contributor, or viewer, just as you prefer. And you can also remove his access right here. I'll keep it the way it is though and close this menu. And if we now again switch back to Max account, which we have right here, and reload it, then we can now go to the Shared with Me menu. And there we see that the report and the dashboard, the empty dashboard at the moment though, was shared. Now, Max is still in his workspace though. So we have these sharing options, but actually, if we go to the Workspaces menu, you can see that Max now also has access to this course collaboration workspace. So if I select this, then Max can see all the content inside this workspace. And more importantly, if we expand the course collaboration workspace menu, you see that he has access to the, as I said, empty dashboard, the report, and the underlying dataset. So that's the big difference to the sharing options that we saw from our workspace. Well, as his task is to add a dashboard to this workspace, we can simply go to our Pro report, so either by selecting it here or by selecting it over here in the overview. And let's now say that this visual here should become our dashboard visual. So if we pin this now, use the destination theme or keep the current theme maybe, and say that this should be added to an existing dashboard. And this is the Pro PBIX dashboard, this empty dashboard that was shared. So let's pin this now. And we can go to the dashboard to see that the data was added. And we could also delete this empty tile here. So with this in place, switching back to my account and reloading the page, now shows us that inside the course collaboration workspace here, if we access the dashboard, that this dashboard, this visual, is now pinned to this dashboard. And this is why this collaboration workspace is a very great feature in Power BI Pro, because it allows you to simultaneously work on projects. In case the collaboration stopped though, so let's say Max did his work and he doesn't need to have any more access to this project, we can always go back to the course collaboration main menu, go to the access menu, and here simply remove his access like this. With this, if we close the window and switch back to the other account and reload this page, still displayed, so sometimes it takes a few seconds. Now it was updated, and now if we check out the workspaces page Max has, he can still access the course collaboration workspace though. But as you see, it doesn't add any data. And if I switch back to my workspace now, then we are back in his own workspace, so to say. The course collaboration workspace is still displayed. That's just a display bug in Power BI Pro though here. But as you see, the content is entirely removed, so Max cannot access anything from this report. And with this, if we go back to my account once again, we saw how these collaboration workspaces work for the, collaboration aspect. But actually, I mentioned that we also have other sharing options in such collaboration workspaces. And these options are related to so-called apps. Let's explore these in the next lectures.